Alright, hello and welcome to what is going to be the first in a series of essentially what they are micro tutorials for Hearts of Iron 4, learning the basics of, building and constructing an army, navy, and air force, industry, research, and things of that nature. I'm not going to go in-depth into all the individual little strategies. There are far more superior players out there, Feedback Gaming, Christo, Quill. Quill doesn't play as much anymore, but you just go on the Paradox forums, go on the Reddits. You can look online. You can find any source of really in-depth tutorials out there for the specifics on things like soft attack, hard attack, piercing, breakthrough, and all that jazz. This is going to focus on purely the minimum basics you need to be able to play this game and play it with some level of confidence. So we're actually in the world of Kaiserreich right now, probably a mod that's probably more popular than the vanilla game right now, and we're Commune of France is what we're going to start off with, because they're a good one to pick and begin with. A lot of options, a lot of action pretty quick. So we're going to go through the this first video is going to focus exclusively on the army, on building an army, organizing it, and going from there. Okay, so you see this button at the top. Unassigned divisions. You can read the tooltip. You can see what the green text says. Click to select next unassigned division. You can literally just keep clicking this over and over again, and it's going to cycle through all of your divisions one by one. Or you can hold shift, click, and it selects, see all 65 divisions? That's every division the Commune of France has everywhere across the world. So that's a big deal. Oops, that's the Air Force screen. That's a big deal if you're playing the German Empire. Because if you do the shift click on unassigned divisions for the German Empire, that will select all of their troops in mainland Germany and mainland Europe. It will select their troops down at the Suez, down in their troops scattered across Africa and the rest of their colonies, and even their troops that are in China. It will select all of them. Why would you want to do this? Well, let's say you want to build an army of all of your divisions. You can shift click and just select them all manually, or you can just hold shift click, boom, all 65 divisions. Now, how do you put them in an army? Very simple. See the bottom center of the screen? There's a silhouette of a general with a plus symbol. Literally all it says is click to create a new army and assign selected divisions. You have 65 divisions selected. You click. You now have a 65 divisions in that army. But you're going to notice all of these divisions have a red exclamation mark next to them. You hover over the red exclamation mark, all it says is division belongs to an army, but you haven't given it any orders. We'll get to that. What you want to do after creating an army, see this click to assign? It has no commander currently. You want to click that, and you have to select from your group of commanding officers. See how it has 65 divisions? You need to make sure you can pick somebody that has a capacity of 65 or greater. So once we find a general we want that has enough capacity, we'll just select them and put them in command. These top two have no capacity. They're field marshals. Field marshals, for now, can command the most amount of troops. This will change with an upcoming Hearts of Iron 4 patch. The patch isn't out yet, but it's changing the way the order of battle works. So anyway, so let's select him, put him in charge. Now, we actually have to give them some orders. All of these are battle plans. We're going to ignore everything right now except for front line and offensive line. But what does offensive line say? You have to create a front line first. So the first thing we want to do is actually create a front line with this army. You can either click this button or you can hit Z. And when you click Z, the Z button, or when you push the Z button, you can just click where you want the front line to be. Against Germany and Flanders, Wallonia, you can put it against Spain. You can see Spain's got a divided front line because of the mountains. And you got Italy, the Italian Federation, and Switzerland. So, if you want to put it on a front line, and you want the front line to be with Germany and Belgium, Z, click. And the reason why the front line covers both the German Empire and Flanders Wallonia is because Flanders Wallonia is a puppet under Germany. So, since Germany is hostile to France, the Commune of France, you can click your border to have the front line with both of them. And then all you got to do is... Alright, we got some events popping up. You see how the units are automatically moving towards that front line? They're going to automatically pick the best place to go along that front line to basically keep the troop levels balanced and such. You're going to notice Kaiserreich has a lot of events, even during a basic tutorial video. So what else you want to do is you want to select this army. The army needs to have some orders. So you can click the offensive line icon or hit the X button, and you're telling them where to go if they're going to attack Germany. You know, let's take this part of Germany. So in the event of any war, our troops will try to take the territory between our front line and this offensive line. Now you can get really tricky with some, having multiple different fronts, multiple different directions, spearhead here, spearhead there, if you have mobile troops and enough tanks to do so. But this is the most basic information you need to know for creating a front line and creating an offensive line. But you'll notice you also have other territories to protect against. Spain, Italy, Switzerland. You got a long coastline to defend. You only have 65 divisions. How are you going to do that? Well, there are some players, they tell one army to have multiple different front lines, depending on where they are. And you can actually take this 65 and just take, let's say you just only want to take 10 of them, and you want to put them against Switzerland. You just hover over that new front line, you control, and click only those 10 divisions. Now those 10 divisions are assigned to the border of Switzerland. And let's say you want to do the same thing against Italy. I don't recommend using cavalry in the mountains. They'll absolutely get slaughtered. This is just purely for the example. And you got to also put some on the border with Spain. We'll put 5 there. And you control click and you tell them where to go. Then when you unpause, you see all the units are going to wherever you told them. Now there are other functions you can do with the army commands. So what I'll do is I'm going to create my own little army for this. But you see the 65 troops we have assigned to this one army have multiple different commands that they're supporting. And you can even select that small group, hit X to draw an offensive line, and tell those 5 divisions to do an offensive line there. You can pick these 3 and tell them to do an offensive line there. So you can actually micro this a little bit. And if you end up, you see how I'm kind of selecting more troops than I would like. If you want, you can hover over the front line. If you control and right click, it will only select the units attached to that front line. Give those 10 their own attack. Do the same thing there. Control right click to select only those 10. And we've taken so many troops away from the other line that it's down from 65 to 37. But now all of our border is covered. So that takes care of the borders at least. What about the coastline? Well, this is going to get a little bit more complicated. Let's take the 37 we have assigned to this attack order. Let's go ahead and you see this button. Select half of the current divisions. So that's 19. Let's create a new army. Got to make sure that there's enough army guy with capacity. There's 19 divisions. This guy can command up to 24. Let's go ahead and take him. If you want to guard your coastline, it's actually pretty simple. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can use a the fallback line, which is literally you hit the C button or you select and then you just right click and drag, and you can drag along the coast, and it's going to tell your units to guard the coastline that you're selecting them to guard. I'll unpause here and show you. You see it's turning yellow? It's because that means I don't have enough units to cover all of the coastal provinces. But there's 19 divisions assigned, those 19 right there. Watch what happens when I unpause. They're automatically going. Alright, we gotta pick. A bunch of events are gonna pop up for Commune of France early on. They're automatically going to this unit, to that fallback line. They're trying to guard whatever they can. You can put a fallback line anywhere. You can have multiple fallback lines. But what I am going to do is I'm going to assign them all to this one. You can assign them to a fallback line. By those 19 are still selected. You control click on a fallback line. They're automatically going to go to that. Yeah, a lot of events. Alright, the reason I wanted them to reset, let's go ahead and delete this fallback line. Because what we're going to do is we're going to show another command for the army, which is the Garrison Area Command, also known, you can hit the V button to do that. You hit the V button with the army you've selected, and you just select a state. See how it's using the hash lines to select that whole state? All of these are the garrison commands you can issue. Guard victory points, guard naval bases, guard coastline, guard the forts, guard air bases, or lower resistance. Like, let's say I were to take a whole bunch of German territory. The resistance is going to be high, so I'm going to need some divisions with military police attached to attempt to lower the resistance. But we're not worrying about that right now. I'm just showing you how to guard the coastline. You can do garrison commands. Deselect all of those and tell them to guard the naval bases, and tell them to guard the coastline. So again, watch what happens when I unpause. They're automatically going to try to guard all of the territory they can. That is the Army tutorial in a nutshell. It's not perfect, but this gives you the basic bare minimum necessities on assigning orders, assigning units to division, to armies, how to separate, how to assign different orders, how to assign different front lines. The next couple episodes are going to be about the Navy and Air Force and such, so hopefully you enjoyed this episode enough that if it was helpful, go ahead and, give it a like or whatever, let your friends know. Just trying to give you the down and dirty on how to play Hearts of Iron without investing half of your life.